The way they were able to go around arenas across the country and sell them out, and little girls are now dreaming about being like Caitlin. It has been great to watch.
Picture this, two of the biggest names in sports clashing on the grandest stages, igniting a rivalry that captivates millions.
We mentioned Larry Bird, and obviously we know the rivalry that you two had and how important you two coming into the league. 2 years ago in the women's NCAA championship, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark had a moment, which I immediately compared to you and Larry. And they have translated to the WNBA in a lot of very mirrored ways. Do you like that comparison, and do you see where that is going?
Joy, I love it.
Now, fast forward to the WNBA, where Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have sparked a fierce competition that has fans on the edge of their seats. But what happens when a legendary figure like Magic Johnson weighs in on this rivalry?
They dominated in college.
As you both did.
Yes. And then they brought it over to the WNBA, just like we brought it to the NBA. We changed the NBA. They changed the WNBA.
Not only does he draw jaw-dropping comparisons to his own epic battles with Larry Bird, but he also takes a surprising side, one that has left Angel Reese stunned and Caitlin Clark's fans cheering.
Everything that these young ladies been fighting for, they're about to get.
Buckle up, because this isn't just a rivalry, it's a turning point for women's basketball, and Magic's take will leave you speechless. When Magic Johnson sat down to reflect on his legendary battles with Larry Bird, few could have anticipated he would connect those historic showdowns to a rivalry brewing in the WNBA.
They end up getting private planes now. They're going to get more money in terms of salary because of the new bargaining agreement that the NBA and WNBA did together. It's just amazing.
The Lakers-Celtics feud of the 1980s wasn't just about basketball. It was about culture, competition, and pushing the boundaries of the sport. Magic and Bird were two titans of the game, elevating the NBA to unprecedented heights. Between 1980 and 1989, their relentless rivalry led to 8 NBA championships, with one or both appearing in every single finals of that decade. Now, Magic sees something familiar in the competitive fire between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Nobody can stop talking about Caitlin Clark. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether we're praising her outstanding play, or whether we're critiquing her every statement, Caitlin Clark continues to occupy the minds of a lot of folks. She's living rent-free.
These two rookies didn't just rise to prominence in the NCAA. They shattered records and drew millions of fans, bringing newfound attention to women's sports. Their showdown in the NCAA tournament was more than a game. It was a spectacle that commanded the nation's attention, creating a buzz reminiscent of Magic and Bird's epic battles. And when these two stars carried that momentum into the WNBA, they set the stage for what could be one of the league's defining rivalries.
Do you remember race being a major component in sports back in the 80s or the 90s? You remember when Michael Jordan came along and everybody fell in love with the guy? We loved Michael Jordan because he was a great player. Is it not okay to love Caitlin Clark because she's a great player?
For Magic Johnson, this isn't just about individual greatness. It's about the transformative power of competition. As he sees it, Clark and Reese have the same potential to change the game for their league as he and Bird did for theirs.
Caitlin Clark has the blessing of Withrow's birthday, 2-2.
Similar shooters, me and Caitlin Clark, back in my heyday with her heyday.
Is this also white privilege?
Could be, very, very early.
But Magic's comments didn't stop there. He made a bold claim that sparked debate across the sports world.
If I were inside the NBA, I would try to get Caitlin Clark there for a night.
Taking a side in this heated rivalry, when asked about the parallels between his rivalry with Larry Bird and the growing tension between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Magic Johnson didn't shy away from sharing his perspective.
What exactly was your white privilege? You know, my white privilege was having a mother and father. Why is that a privilege?
His admiration for the competitive spirit of both players was clear, but there was something about Caitlin Clark that struck a deeper chord with him.
I never hear anybody. All I hear is guys like Ryan Clark or Megan Rapinoe or Sue Bird saying, she acknowledges her white privilege. So how is her privilege? What is her privilege? Hey man, you stick that thing in a woman, you become a dad, be a dad. That's not a privilege. That speaks to more of what others aren't doing than what some are doing.
As he discussed their impact on the game, Magic made it evident that Clark's style of play, her resilience, her jaw-dropping performances, and her ability to draw fans into the WNBA reminded him of the transformative energy he once brought to the NBA.
I would never say that because I had a mom and dad, I was privileged. That's not privilege. That's just how you create a baby.
Johnson highlighted how Clark dominated in college, leading Iowa to historic victories while setting records that seemed almost untouchable. Her knack for clutch plays, her court vision, and her ability to score from anywhere on the floor made her a generational talent.
Most people go play in the street. Most people go play in a gym. Most people go play wherever. I mean, what is the white privilege?
More importantly, her relentless drive to win resonated deeply with Magic, who saw shades of his own competitive edge in her game.
It's so easy to say white privilege, racist, sexist, white privilege, racist. What is her white privilege?
Caitlyn has that it factor, Magic said. She's not just playing to win, she's playing to inspire. For Magic, this wasn't just about stats or trophies. It was about how Clark's rise had captivated young girls across the country, giving them a new role model to look up to.
As soon as Caitlin Clark came into the league, it was flooded with insanity, Kennedy Carter. It was flooded with really divisive narratives. The barnacle on the ass of Caitlin Clark, Angel REESE, celebrating Caitlin Clark getting knocked on her ass. It was celebrated by Cheryl Reeves, basically saying it's more than one woman. These women were petty. These women were jealous. These women were racist. These women were sexist.
While REESE has her own compelling story and undeniable talent, it was Clark's impact on and off the court that Magic seemed to find more comparable to his own. This subtle but clear favoritism didn't go unnoticed. Fans and analysts were quick to pick up on Magic's alignment with Clark, interpreting his remarks as a direct nod to her as the player who is driving the WNBA into a new era.
But the truth of the matter is they're so full of shit. They started an incredibly divisive narrative, and they can't wait because white man bad, white conservative man real bad. Instead of just being honest and saying, look, as a lesbian community, we didn't accept. As African American community, we were jealous of. As coaches, we were idiots about it.
And while Magic didn't outright dismiss REESE's contributions, his words left little doubt about where his admiration truly lies. Magic Johnson didn't stop at merely praising Caitlin Clark. He expanded on how her rivalry with Angel REESE is reshaping women's basketball, much like his battles with Larry Bird brought the NBA to a global stage. Johnson believes Clark and REESE have elevated the WNBA to unprecedented heights. The fierce competition between these two players has captivated millions, drawing record-breaking viewership and energizing fans to tune into games like never before.
But as a white person, there is privilege. And it just makes me sad that she reacted the way that she did, because Caitlin Clark is so talented.
They changed the WNBA, Magic emphasized, comparing their influence to his and Bird's transformation of the NBA in the 1980s. For him, it wasn't just about two great athletes going head-to-head. It was about how their rivalry has sparked growth across the entire league. Packed arenas, surging merchandise sales, and young girls aspiring to play at the highest level all point to the monumental impact of Clark and REESE's on-court clashes. The effects of their rivalry extend far beyond fandom. Magic noted tangible improvements in the league's conditions, from better salaries for players to upgraded travel arrangements, including private planes, a long-awaited milestone for WNBA athletes. These changes are a direct result of the increased attention and revenue that Clark and REESE have brought to the sport.
Caitlin Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done, but we should have been giving her the credit. We saw the ratings, we saw the merchandise sales, we saw the attendance, but y'all want to make it about something else. Oh, what about the women that laid the foundation? What about this? What about it? That ain't got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is box office. She's doing this.
Women should just shut up and dribble in the WNBA. The more they talk, the dumber they are. We get dumber when they speak. We get dumber when their media speak.
While the rivalry itself has been peppered with controversy, heated moments, social media feuds, and debates about sportsmanship, it's undeniable that it has also created opportunities.
And she feels the need in this interview to say, appreciate it, but I'm white. And with that, there comes enormous privilege. And, I really think it's important that you pay attention to the Black women who are in this league, who built this league. And I really feel it's my role to make sure that people do that.
Johnson sees this dynamic as proof that fierce competition can drive innovation and change. In his eyes, the Clark-Reese rivalry isn't just good for basketball, it's a cultural moment that's redefining what women's sports can achieve.
I don't think people felt that way. This white girl came on the scene where there was a bunch of sisters that preceded her, spanning decades, that were big time, that deserved a lot of credit. But whiteness does have its privilege, especially when you got a game. And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game.
And yet Magic's focus on Clark's ability to lead this transformation was hard to ignore. By choosing to align himself with her journey, he effectively cast Clark as the leader of this new movement, leaving Reese to play the role of her primary challenger. It's a narrative that resonates deeply with fans and continues to fuel the passion surrounding their rivalry. As Magic Johnson boldly sides with Caitlin Clark, the WNBA finds itself at the center of a transformative moment in sports. His comparison of the Clark-Reese rivalry to the legendary battles of the 80s between him and Larry Bird highlights the undeniable power these two young stars have in shaping the future of women's basketball. Whether you agree with Magic's perspective or not, one thing is clear: Clark and Reese are driving the WNBA into a new era of success and visibility.
So she spoke out against that. She got people paid. She got better travel arrangements. She increased the ratings and the revenue, which obviously the WNBA benefited exponentially because now you got a $200 million deal. All of these things being considered, you damn right. It is appropriate that she got Athlete of the Year. She is special.
This rivalry has not only sparked debates about sportsmanship, but it's also ignited a movement that will be remembered for years to come. As we watch these two phenomenal athletes continue to battle it out, one thing is certain: the future of the WNBA has never looked brighter. So what do you think? Do you agree with Magic Johnson's stance on Caitlin Clark? Or do you think Angel Reese deserves more recognition in this heated rivalry? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this epic showdown. Until next time, stay tuned.
I think Caitlin Clark is doing the right thing, rising above all of the crap that she's had to endure. The amount of fouls committed on Caitlin Clark higher than any other player, flagrant fouls committed on Caitlin Clark higher than any other player. Caitlin Clark was worried about playing the game, and that is why she got Rookie of the Year. She was not worried about the BS.